Dune Awakening is out now and thousands of people are surviving Arrakis, but what's coming in the future? Let's see what adventures await us on this world and possibly others too. For roughly the first year of content for Dune Awakening, we know what's coming already in terms of DLCs. Firstly, already available is the Wildlife of Arrakis DLC. This is a cosmetic set that contains statues of the Wildlife of Arrakis and was made available at launch. If you own this DLC or the Season Pass, then you'll of course already have it and be able to use it around your base. Secondly, coming sometime between October and December 2025 is the Lost Harvest DLC. This is marked as side story and cosmetics, so I assume it's a self-contained questline that doesn't interact with the mainline story, and it will also probably bring appropriate swatches, variants, weapons and or armours alongside it. The actual description of this DLC is quite cryptic. A stranded harvester, a desperate crew, a secret that has been buried for over 10,000 years. It's just a basic outline, but the latter portion is particularly interesting. The Siege of Arrakis, which just precedes the events of the game, would have taken place around 10,191 AG in the Dune universe, so if this secret beneath the sands has been hidden for over 10,000 years, it could predate the founding of the Spacing Guild or even the Butlerian Jihad. It's hard to speculate any further than that, but this DLC sounds like it'll be an interesting one and potentially offer a nice chunk of PvE content. DLC 3 arrives between January and March 2026 and is called Raiders of the Broken Lands. This is marked as a cosmetic DLC, meaning it will be swatches, variants, armours and so on. Probably no stat increases as such, but equivalent to already available items in the base game. The DLC description reads, "The Broken Lands are shattered plains of broken rock, known for their fearsome raiders, so it's likely we'll end up getting raider-styled armours and gears from this DLC, hopefully maybe a building set or some decorations too. Apart from that, it's quite scant on details, so we'll have to wait and see what this one brings." Before the final DLC, quick shameless self-promo, to celebrate Dune Awakening's full launch, you can now get Patreon access for 30% off. Support the channel directly on Patreon and get to see videos like this far earlier than usual, or join as a free member for previews and exclusive behind the scenes looks at the upcoming Settlers Season 4. Use discount code DUNE30 at checkout for 30% off your first month on select tiers, offer valid until June 30th, 2025. Plug over, back to it. The final known DLC is The Water Wars, coming between April and June 2026. The description reads, "Water is life. The water shipper families are at war, fighting for control of the polar caps of Arrakis." Being the furthest out, this one isn't marked as either cosmetic or story, but just based on the description, I get the vibe this will potentially be a side story with new cosmetics, similar to Lost Harvest. There is actually a character in the first Dune novel named Lingar who is a water seller. You don't get a huge amount of information from him about the polar caps, but the scenes he's in are pretty great. By the sounds of it, this DLC will take us far from the safety of the shield wall and out to the polar caps, potentially to help one of the water shipper families, or perhaps just to take their water for ourselves. Outside of the standard DLC structure in the Season Pass, there will of course be free content updates and the like. Through some interviews, creative director Joel has confirmed that the team has roughly a 10-year plan for Dune Awakening. The main questline will be expanded through the free updates and won't be paywalled, according to Joel. More interestingly, future content won't necessarily just take place on Arrakis. Of course, we're going to spend a lot of time on the planet. It's arguably the most important feature of the whole franchise after all, and there's plenty of stuff that can be done on Arrakis itself, but as the game continues to expand over the coming years, the team do have plans to take us off-planet to do things across the universe. All of this stuff has no timeline, of course, it's quite far out, and I wouldn't expect to visit other planets anytime soon really, but it is in the works and will come at some point in the future. As for where we could go, the options are wide open. Caladan, Giedi Prime, Seleucia Secundus, Ix and so on. We also know a third faction will be added to the game at some point after launch. This faction will be a sort of balancer that will only win in the Landsraad by making the race between Atreides and Harkonnen as tight as possible, so that is coming at some point. No word yet on exactly what that faction is. I think most people are probably expecting the Fremen, but there are plenty of groups that could fit into that place, and I think by the sounds of it, the faction sounds pretty good for solo players. So, to wrap things up, we know of 3 confirmed DLCs coming to the game. Lost Harvest in Q4 2025, Raiders of the Broken Lands in Q1 2026, and The Water Wars in Q2 of 2026. There's also of course a slew of free content updates that will undoubtedly add smaller things, quality of life features, but also expansions to the base game systems like the Landsrad with the 3rd faction, and further progress in the main game story too. A bit further down the line, the dev team plans to take us off-planet, potentially to areas that haven't really been explored much either in the source material or the film adaptations. With the 10-year plan, it sounds like Dune will get a ton of content over the years. Of course, to quote Joel from one of the streams, no plan survives first contact with players, but it does sound like there's a lot of things in the works, and hopefully a good steady stream of content additions to keep Dune feeling fresh and interesting in the months and indeed years to come. Anyway, that will wrap us up for today, where we've looked at some of the content coming to Dune Awakening through the Season Pass and some of the upcoming free updates, alongside a little peek at future plans. Thanks for watching. I'll be covering Dune right here on this channel alongside Conan Exiles, so make sure you subscribe to get the best of both Arrakis and Hyboria, and again, if you wish to support the channel directly by becoming a patron, use code DUNE30 to get 30% off your first month, valid until June 30th. On that note, a massive thanks to our wonderful esteemed coffee cultists for continuing to support the channel over on Patreon. If you want to support the channel here on YouTube and get some exclusive perks, take a look at the new channel memberships available by clicking join just below this video. Take care, and I'll see you soon.